It broke my heart to listen to the technical briefing yesterday. It was physically painful.
On June 24th, a heap leach failure, a process that uses cyanide to extract gold from layers of ore, caused a landslide at the Eagle Mine near Mayo, Yukon. The Notchonayak First Nation in Mayo has major concerns about cyanide contamination caused by the slide.
There's a lot of things that we're not seeing that we don't have understandings of in the Yukon, including groundwater systems. And that's where we are most concerned right now is about groundwater.
A week and a half later after the slide, government officials still don't have many answers about contamination. Chief Hope says the government isn't acting fast enough.
There's not as much action or response to the site as we would like.
Now, the First Nation of Notchonayak is taking matters into its own hands. On Wednesday, it asked that all mining activity in its traditional territory be halted until the slide damage can be better understood. The First Nation is also asking for an urgent independent investigation and review of the incident.
A complete and independent evaluation is crucial to understand the environmental and health impacts of this most recent event. Plus, we need to evaluate the cumulative effects of all the events that have happened just at that site.
Chief Hope says the incident, which she calls a mining catastrophe, is a wake-up call for the territory concerning antiquated mining legislation.
The Yukon is the last open frontier for mining. I know that there is a lot of mining entities that expect that we have higher standards in the Yukon.
A Yukon government spokesperson says it's committed to working with the First Nation. Government officials plan to hold a technical briefing on Thursday to discuss groundwater sampling results from the mine. Sarah Connors, APTN National News, Whitehorse.
This level of cyanide in Haggart Creek could potentially affect fish. Whether this concentration of cyanide in the water will actually affect fish depends on other chemicals in the water.
On Thursday, Yukon government confirmed elevated levels of cyanide were found in Haggart Creek near the Eagle Gold mine site in central Yukon. The results came a week and a half after the mine experienced an equipment failure that caused a landslide. Government regulations allow for 0.005 milligrams of cyanide per liter. Officials say 0.04 milligrams per liter of cyanide was found in the creek.
It broke my heart to listen to the technical briefing yesterday. It was physically painful.
The concern now for many is aquatic life. This environment group says in its review of the mine, an assessment board found in some cases fish can die at lower levels than what was found in the creek.
They state that cyanide levels of 0.02 milligrams per liter can be toxic to fish. It depends on a lot of factors, but it makes a lot of sense that they brought in a fish toxicologist because this could be quite bad.
We're quite concerned. Just, physiologically, we don't want to lose any fish.
The Yukon Salmon Subcommittee says Chinook salmon use the creek as a nursery and spawning ground. With Chinook stocks already in decline, there's worries any threat to their environment can cause irreversible harm.
There are hundreds of stressors against salmon, and this is one of those places where they should have refuge or they should have rest in order to spawn, and that's not happening. Now they have this additional stress.
A little bit complicated.
This mining expert says the cyanide found in the creek will likely impact fish, though he doesn't believe it's high enough to kill them. But he says no one will know for sure until there's long-term testing.
Because to see the effect in the fish in the long term, you need a sample, not just one sample. You need about 30 days sampling there.
The First Nation of Notchonayak is located 85 kilometers from the mine site. Chief Donna Hope wasn't available for an interview today. However, she previously told APTN her community is grieving for the lands and waters, and it will be taking swift action to hopefully prevent any more contamination. Sarah Connors, APTN National News, Whitehorse. On June 24th, there was a major equipment failure at Victoria Gold's Eagle mine site in north central Yukon. The failure damaged the mine's heap leach pad, a process used to extract ore and gold, causing cyanide to spill into the environment. On Friday, the company said in a public statement it didn't know if it would be able to restart production or if it could provide the cash needed to fix the site.
The more we learn about this, the sketchier it gets.
The statement has raised eyebrows at Mining Watch Canada, which advocates for responsible mining. The organization says most of the company's money was tied up in the heap leach pile.
They don't have the cash flow. They don't have any other operations. They don't have a lot of reserves. So it wouldn't be at all surprising if they go belly up as a result of this.
The Canadian Parks and Wilderness Society's Yukon branch says it's not a matter of if the mine goes bankrupt, but when. That's because its $104 million security is based on a closure plan, one that doesn't account for a heap leach failure and environmental contamination.
It assumes that the heap leach is going to be there so that they can detoxify the cyanide. The heap leach is destroyed, the pumping system is destroyed. It makes cleanup a lot more complex and a lot more expensive.
We're very disappointed to hear that announcement by Vic Gold.
Chief Donna Hope of the First Nation of Nacho-Nayakdun says she was surprised by the announcement. The mine is located on their traditional territory. But Hope says her First Nation has bigger concerns than Victoria Gold's financial situation. It recently received information that the mine's events ponds are close to being full.
Once they are full, they're going to start overflowing. That is the biggest concern to us. There's impending disasters beyond the disaster that occurred June 24th.
APTN reached out to Victoria Gold for comment. They have yet to respond. Sarah Connors, APTN National News, Whitehorse. On Wednesday, the Ontario Supreme Court granted Yukon government's application to place mining company Victoria Gold into a receivership. Government officials say it's the best course of action to remediate the company's Eagle Gold mine site.
This legal action gives us a pathway to use the assets of the company responsible for the environmental damage to pay for the costs of addressing that damage.
The mine is located on the traditional territory of the First Nation of Nacho-Nayakdun. In June, the mine's heap leach facility experienced an equipment failure, causing cyanide-laced ore and other chemicals to be released into the surrounding environment. The company has since failed to carry out some of the territory's mining inspectors' directions and address environmental and safety concerns, prompting the government to file the receivership. The mine's receiver, PricewaterhouseCoopers, will now take control of the company's assets, including the mine.
The receivership provides the framework and the opportunity we need to advance the critical work that must be done immediately in terms of environmental protection and remediation.
Facing mounting financial pressures, CEO John McConnell told the CBC on Thursday the company's board has stepped down. But the government isn't calling it quits on the mine site. That's because mining plays a major part in the territory's economy.
We still hold out hope that mining can occur at this site, that there can be mitigation to return the site to a viable mine.
Officials say they don't yet know when remediation work will be completed. Sarah Connors, APTN National News, Whitehorse.
The mine, previously owned by Victoria Gold, experienced a heap leach failure in June. The failure caused a landslide, resulting in cyanide being released into the surrounding environment. The mine is now in receivership. Officials say the berm will be built across the slide area and the site's access road. Once completed, it will allow construction crews to install groundwater and interception wells near the slide area. They say the focus now is finishing emergency remediation work before winter.
Things like making sure that the pipes and the pumps are all insulated, making sure that the water treatment plant has buildings around the reverse osmosis units, ensuring that we are able to to convey water around the site in winter conditions. So there's a lot of work that's being done by the team on site, identifying everything that has to occur, and that's one of the primary work packages that are going on right now.
The Ross River Dinna Council is celebrating a recent court decision on BMC Minerals' proposed Kutsakaya mine. Yukon's Court of Appeal found that territorial and federal governments failed to consult the Casca on the project's economic feasibility.
We felt a relief. We felt, happy with the Court of Appeal's decision.
The Ross River Dinna Council, on behalf of the Casca Nation, appealed a Yukon Supreme Court decision released earlier this year. That decision found the governments mostly upheld their duty to consult the Casca when approving the mine to the next stage in 2022. But the Casca argued the judge erred in her decision. They said a lot was at stake during a rally in September when the appeal was heard.
The caribou that sustain us. That's why I'm here today.
The open pit copper, zinc, and lead project is located in a core area for the Fennelson caribou herd. But the governments refused to consult with the Casca about the economic feasibility of the project, something they said would be discussed later on. However, the appeal court said that was unreasonable.
The economics of the whole project it brings a lot of uncertainty.
The appeal court ordered the governments to thoroughly consult with the Casca about the project's economic feasibility before it can be approved. BMC Minerals says it's disappointed the project will be delayed, but respects the court's decision.
We've always been of the view that we want to have all the questions answered and everyone heard, especially Casca.
Once the governments consult with the Casca on the topic of economic feasibility, it will reissue a decision on whether or not the mine can proceed. Sarah Connors, APTN National News, Whitehorse.